All persons having any business before this honourable court now draw nigh and give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Adriana Alphonse.
May it please the court, I move that Adriana Alphonse be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Adriana Alphonse be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caroline Boutros.
May it please the court, I move that Caroline Boutros be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Caroline Boutros be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Reese Cavosso.
May it please the court, I move that Reese Cavosso be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Reese Cavosso be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jessica Chalhoub.
May it please the court, I move that Jessica Chalhoub be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jessica Chalhoub be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Taylor Jordan Charles.
May it please the court, I move that Taylor Jordan Charles be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Taylor Jordan Charles be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lixian Chen.
May it please the court, I move that Li Shihan Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Li Shihan Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Annalise Regina Diab.
May it please the court, I move that Annalise Regina Diab be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Annalise Regina Diab be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kate Amy Francis.
May it please the court, I move that Kate Amy Francis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kate Amy Francis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kian Francis Galea.
May it please the court, I move that Kian Francis Galea be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kian Francis Galea be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Anthony Tanfu Huang.
May it please the court, I move that Anthony Tanfu Huang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Anthony Tanfu Huang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Muhammad Ishtiaq Hussain.
May it please the court, I move that Muhammad Ishtiaq Hussain be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Muhammad Ishtiaq Hussain be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gabrielle Jane Hunter.
May it please the court, I move that Gabrielle Jane Hunter be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Gabrielle Jane Hunter be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christina Comodina.
May it please the court, I move that Christina Comodina be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Christina Comodina be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ken Ming Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Ken Ming Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ken Ming Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caitlin Legrady.
May it please the court, I move that Catalin Legrady be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Catalin Legrady be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ziyan Lung.
May it please the court, I move that Sian Peggy Liang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sian Peggy Lung be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zishan Liu.
May it please the court, I move that Zishan Liu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Zishan Liu be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Myrna Ma.
May it please the court, I move that Myrna Ma be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Myrna Ma be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madeline Sylvia Manusarides.
May it please the court, I move that Madeline Sylvia Manusarides be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madeline Sylvia Manusarides be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kirsten Fiona McLeod.
May it please the court, I move that Kirsten Fiona McLeod be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kirsten Fiona McLeod be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gabriella Mills.
May it please the court, I move that Gabriella Mills be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Gabriella Mills be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
James Nicholas Matrevsky.
May it please the court, I move that James Nicholas Matrevsky be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let James Nicholas Matrevsky be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caitlin Elise Moore.
May it please the court, I move that Caitlin Elise Moore be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Caitlin Elise Moore be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yuka Nagata.
May it please the court, I move that Yuka Nagata be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yuka Nagata be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ryan Newen.
May it please the court, I move that Ryan Newen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ryan Newen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Hugh Keith Pearce.
May it please the court, I move that Hugh Keith Pearce be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Hugh Keith Pearce be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Taryn Perimal.
May it please the court, I move that Taryn Perimal be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Taryn Perimal be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Charlotte Pong.
May it please the court, I move that Charlotte Pong be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable
That
court.
Charlotte Pong be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sarah Rana.
May it please the court, I move that Sarah Rana be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Sarah Rana be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Adam Petter Reeve.
May it please the court, I move that Adam Petter Reeve be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Adam Petter Reeve be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Reuben Tung Robertson.
May it please the court, I move that Reuben Tung Robertson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Reuben Tung Robertson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shivani Sankaran.
May it please the court, I move that Shivani Sakaran be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Shivani Sakaram be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Navjot Singh.
May it please the court, I move that Navjot Singh be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Navjot Singh be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Adrian Sweeney.
May it please the court, I move that Adrian Sweeney be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Adrian Sweeney be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel James Symington.
May it please the court, I move that Daniel James Symington be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniel James Symington be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Laura Tagliapietra.
May it please the court, I move that Laura Tagliapietra be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Laura Tagliapietra be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tek Hui Tan.
May it please the court, I move that Tek Hui Tan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tek Hui Tam be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michael Huang Tu.
May it please the court, I move that Michael Huang Tu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michael Huang too be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tatiana Saruta.
May it please the court, I move that Tatiana Saruta be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable
Let
court.
Tatiana Saruta be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Emma Mary Vidgen.
May it please the court, I move that Emma Mary Vidgen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Emma Mary Vidgen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madison Ann Walsh.
May it please the court, I move that Madison Ann Walsh be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madison Ann Walsh be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ellen Jane Webb.
May it please the court, I move that Ellen Jane Webb be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ellen Jane Webb be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Anne Wen.
May it please the court, I move that Anne Wen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Anne Wen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yifang Zhao.
May it please the court, I move that Yifang Zhao be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yifang Zhao be admitted as a lawyer of this court. Thank you, Registrar. Now that the formal moving of lawyers has ended, I'd like to warmly welcome you to this virtual admission ceremony at the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today to my right is Justice Bell, who is the President of the Court of Appeal, and on my left, Justice Brereton, who is a member of the Court of Appeal. Together, we constitute the court that has, in exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you to practice. As we gather for this celebration physically dispersed, I would like to begin by recognising the various traditional lands on which we meet. This ceremony is streamed from the Banco Court, which is located on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I acknowledge these traditional custodians and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. We recognise the long-standing and enduring customs and traditions of Australia's First Nations and acknowledge with deep regret the role our legal system has had in perpetrating many injustices against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. To all the new lawyers watching today, welcome to the legal profession. This admission ceremony may be different to what you were expecting. These are challenging times when you are unable to be admitted in person. However, your admission, conducted remotely, reflects the agility and adaptability which you will need to possess as lawyers in an age of great change. This is a time for celebration. You have all worked extremely hard to get to this point through caffeine-fueled nights and obscure problem questions, reading countless wafer-thin pages of textbook and more cases than you could ever hope to remember. You have entered the world of eggshell skulls, encountered the mysterious reasonable person, and have understood the Constitution consists of so much more than the vibe of the thing. In becoming a lawyer, you have joined a centuries-old profession with ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an admission oath dates back to the 12th century. This court first admitted lawyers to practice in 1824, and by 1830, the names of lawyers were entered onto rolls in this state. You have now become part of this tradition almost 200 years later. Perhaps for some of you, that is how long it feels like you've been studying. For many of you, the support of your family and friends has no doubt been invaluable. No doubt they've also often been on the receiving end of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion. I do hope you take the time to thank them today. The oath or affirmation you have made before this ceremony is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, or an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice. It is in acknowledgement of this weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the movement of lawyers and our somewhat unusual choice of fashion. I recall on one occasion, some years ago, a young member of the audience asked if we were doing Santa photos after the ceremony. I was very sorry to disappoint. However, although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. You'll be unsurprised to hear that over the past year and a half, we've had to adapt quite a bit, as you can see today. COVID-19 has meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure that access to justice continues in the midst of a pandemic. Things don't always go smoothly, as those with me on the bench can probably attest to. There have been real difficulties to grapple with in terms of open justice, effective communication, and fairness to participants. And occasionally a lawyer might even get stuck behind a Zoom kitten filter. But for all the challenges we are facing, the impetus is greater than ever before for us to prioritise flexibility and accessibility. Better use of technology and increased working from home arrangements have profound implications for how our legal system interacts with many people, including those in rural and remote areas, those with a disability, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. As the newest members of the profession, you are at the forefront of innovation in the law and have a unique opportunity to see through changes so that justice is done openly and equitably. There are, of course, other changes that deserve attention. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter the duality that we have come very far and that much still needs to be done. Though women were originally not permitted to practice, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practising certificate in New South Wales and currently make up 63% of solicitors under the age of 30. Women occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, the Chief Justice of Australia. However, women continue to face challenges of representation, including amongst judges of this court and amongst barristers in speaking roles before the High Court. On the other hand, it is heartening to see that the local court of New South Wales has almost achieved gender parity amongst magistrates. But we must not be complacent about these issues. There are other noticeable diversity concerns that we must face head on. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and people from diverse cultural backgrounds continue to be alarmingly underrepresented in the legal profession, and particularly within the judiciary and the ranks of senior counsel. We must also be alert to barriers to the profession for people from less privileged backgrounds. Law should not be a profession for the wealthy, and the idea that students may be dissuaded from studying law by the cost of a law degree, which this year has again increased, or because of other systemic issues, is troubling. Not just this, but we will only achieve a truly diverse profession when barriers to advancement are broken down and people from different backgrounds are properly supported in a collegiate and inclusive environment, free from harassment and discrimination. These issues are fundamental to a just and transparent legal system and to the legitimacy of the rule of law. We need diverse representation amongst advocates and judges so that all people who become involved in our justice system can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. Despite these challenges, there is real scope for change. There is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than those who have been around for as long as me. You are in a unique position as new lawyers who are entering the profession at a time when more than ever your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment or bullying within the profession, unfair laws or systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable. I urge you to continue to speak up for these things. They do matter. You are the future of the profession and will steer the direction it will take. As a lawyer, you also need to make difficult ethical decisions at times. With regard to our personal characteristics, lawyers have been the butt of jokes for centuries. Some would say there are, of course, only a handful of lawyer jokes. The rest are true stories. But jokes aside, you must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court, the administration of justice, and other ethical duties you must uphold. Now that you are lawyers, you can get paid to argue instead of just arguing for free. Of course, there is a lot more to it than that. You're an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate of the marginalised. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but law as it applies to people's lives. For this reason, you must strive to deliver legal services competently and fearlessly, with courtesy and integrity. Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, once said, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." This is foundational to upholding the rule of law. For those of you who will practice law, the way you communicate information to others will have profound consequences for access to justice. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. One thing you will regrettably strike throughout your career is legislation which seems carefully crafted with the object of ensuring that no one can understand it. Your task is not just to understand it, but to explain it clearly to those whose rights and interests are affected by it. As lawyers, we must not keep the law locked up as something knowable only to us. A client reading your advice should be empowered to understand your meaning, not mystified and confused. So be clear and concise in your writing and your speaking. Plain English is powerful. Consider, do I really need to say aforementioned or herewith? Must I sprinkle in that Latin phrase? Should I really use double negatives, tautologies and wordy clauses that take up a whole page? I would suggest to you the answer to these questions is obviously no. The best advocates can make their points simply and succinctly. Now, some of the most experienced lawyers and judges from time to time could use that reminder, but don't pick up their bad habits. I also want to speak about failure. I would not be surprised if there were quite a few overachievers and perfectionists watching this live stream today. Even so, at various points of your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. When you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can and learn from those errors. You must fail at times in order to grow. What is important is that you try to not to make the same mistake twice. I've made many mistakes over the years, far too many for me to remember, although sometimes my colleagues like to remind me of them. And even as Chief Justice, my decisions have on occasion been successfully appealed to the High Court. When that happens, I remind myself through gritted teeth that it's not just a legal fiction that the High Court is infallible, but sometimes even dissenting or differing opinions become the law. Finally, I want to emphasise that your mental health is extremely important. This may sound unexpected at this type of ceremony, but the law is not everything. There may be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out or distressed. If you do, you should not be afraid to seek professional help or take a step back when you need to. Also remember that the law is a collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support of your peers will prove invaluable. Although you might find it hard to believe, I was admitted quite a long time ago, but throughout that period I relied on the support of my peers. I lost my first case and I lost many more after that. But throughout my 35 years in practice, I could always count on the other barristers in my chambers to share my disappointment at the unfairness of the verdict, the sly tactics of opposing counsel, and most often, I regret to say, the obtuseness of the judge or judges before whom I was appearing. I hasten to add that I do not include either of my fellow judges on the bench in that comment. On behalf of all the judges of the Supreme Court, and particularly those sitting with me today, can I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The Court will now adjourn.